February, and now we're looking at months if we don't approve additional spending, which we may not have the money to spend. But I know that having complete reconciliation is not necessary for everything that we need to do, but in terms of to find out exactly how much we are in the hole, I think that having those books closed out, we have, and just so people are aware, this Board of Selectmen has told people, we've made it clear at every meeting we've had, in which there was someone from one of those boards present, that we should, that should be a priority, you know, that, so they know that it's a priority, and I think that's why, so I'm not faulting the town accountant by saying it's gonna take months. I'm glad that he made us aware of that, but I think this is something that we definitely need to, maybe going along the lines of what Diane said, having perhaps the accountant come and give some kind of presentation as to exactly where we are and what's going on, because we need to obviously figure this out pretty quickly if it's going to be months before we have our books closed and reconciled, which I know obviously involves the treasurer as well. But so those might be my two items.
I have a question on the school budget subcommittee. Were any numbers discussed, decided, brought out as far as, like last year it was a 1.9% increase, was that subject broached at all?
No, because we were just organizing at this point. We meet every single Thursday between now and those are obviously open to the public, in the Kiva, every single Thursday at 6:30 between now and I believe the second Tuesday in March, when then the budget goes on to the school committee and they hold open hearings on the budget itself. So, but they did, some interesting topics were brought up. For instance, this because I think there was a lot of confusion about this. The E&D that was reported, it's a year behind, kind of like our veterans benefits are, where they can be up to 2 years behind getting paid back. So the E&D that shows for this year was last year's E&D that was just moved forward, right? Because that topic was brought up. Why is there 100 and this huge? Really, they had $40,000 extra last year was it. And she made the very clear point that if one student with special needs moves into the town in the middle of the year, that can cost them $90,000 to fund So having only a $40,000, they can. I mean, that's something that they cannot do. Whereas generally, the town does not have one event happens, I mean, it's possible, but where suddenly you need $200,000, if 3 new preschoolers move in and they have to hire new staff by law, it was interesting. And I do encourage a lot of people to attend those budget subcommittee meetings because you really do get good information. I know that Will had requested that as we do monthly budget to actual reports, that he requested those, and I think that would be helpful for people to see as well, both for the numbers that are in there and then also for an explanation, as to when certain bills arise. But that was interesting as well, like hearing that. I didn't realize that, and I'm not picking on special needs students, obviously, but I'm just using that as an example of something that can just happen when suddenly you have a $100,000 additional cost in your budget. So they also spoke of they are going to switch to a chipper heating system. I believe they spent $400,000 on oil last year. So by switching to a chipper, she had said that the loan, the difference between the fuel for the chipper and the loan would still be $60,000 less a year than what they're currently paying to run their current boilers. So they did, I mean, we didn't have an in-depth discussion in cost-cutting measures, but there was some discussion brought up.
That's been an ongoing discussion at many meetings that I've gone to about the wood chipper boiler and how much of a cost savings that would be.
How would it do?
Hold on, this is selectmen's comments and stuff. And I'll get to you when we finish with this item. I would say, as far as the things about the free cash and the budget and when the books will be closed, I have an email, as I said, I had an email response from the town accountant. I have one into Matt Angel. I was looking down here if anyone saw me 20 minutes ago or whatever. I was checking email on my phone. I learned how to do that. Or I've taught myself to do that, and I have not gotten. Matt has not gotten back to me because I was trying to ask a second person that question. And to clarify the email that Ken had mentioned, which he asked for the availability of Matt to, which would speed that process up, because if he doesn't have that assistance, then it may take months. And I intend to call our accountant tomorrow and get clarification on that. The school's E&D, I think they do have 100 and, what was it? Because Diane and I were both at that school committee, I think it's 180,000 or 100.
Yeah,
It's
it's
188,
188,
right.
but again,
And-
that's the year behind, and then because the 40.
That's like certified free cash
Right.
at the end of their year.
Right.
That they
Last
move
year.
forward.
Because it was 40, it was 40,
Right.
so.
They find that out when they file their financials between, no later than October 31st. But there again, as Mr. Dennis alluded to, they probably have a good idea or estimate of that before they file their financials. The agenda item for the posting the job, I did plan to have that on the 20th, our next meeting, the 27th.
Informing the committee, because we got to have that
Yes,
search
we
committee.
need to do that, post the job, because the amount of time that it's gonna take, it's almost February. Again, we don't have to hire anyone until, give them a start time of July the 1st. We have the town coordinator's salary amount that was budgeted last year, that is a starting point, maybe bump it up a little, or whatever. But, so we do have a starting point, there's no reason not to post that job, and plan on, a committee, and getting word out and getting resumes in here and look at them. It does not mean we have to hire somebody full-time before the end of the fiscal year. If that person happens to be employed, they have to give notice, and that's, generally, a long time. And those people in those positions, they understand this process, because they actually deal with it sometime. As our interim, as the individual that will be here on Monday, he's doing in the town right now, assisting a board find an administrator. So we may have in-house help. It's not free help, but we will have experienced in-house help potentially to assist us with that. The report thing that I was interested in was the budget subcommittee for the Narragansett School District. Selectman Robinson is the representative from the Board of Selectmen, and I believe that was voted on when we did our appointments. And on the budget and the shortfall and everything, and I know it's frustrating, and people want answers. I was hoping to have the books closed by the middle of the month. That's middle of the month is come and gone. So we now have a date for a special town meeting, and probably the 27th. If not, we could have the next meeting. I guess we will have to put options, at least a couple options together, and have them in the waiting for when we have to do posting the warrant, which is just, it's only a couple weeks away when we will have to post it. And on that note, I would just say the Board of Selectmen's policies and procedures are on the website in case you want to know, what we voted on. One of the things was the agenda, the new addition of public comments at the beginning. That's something that we voted on. And we talked about it at like 3 meetings. And that will be an adjustment, and we may have to, the chair may have to, cut people off, because it's not intended to be, someone to give a 30-minute speech. It's intended to just, to give us input for something that is not on the agenda. Like perhaps, hey, could I have this on the agenda, in case, saves you from coming down to town meeting or to the Board of Selectmen's office, or, who do I talk to about getting it on the agenda? You can do that right here at the meeting. That's one of the options you have with his public comments. So on that note,
Jeff, I'm sorry, can I just ask one more thing?
yes,
We had, during the last budget crisis, you had a couple of town hall type meetings, so can we just kind of think about that this time too, so that the public can be aware of, where Ken said, and I think Julie said, maybe you can do this or maybe you can't, about, you can have this suggestion or that suggestion, or so we can inform the public, so it's just a side note.
no, it's, and that subject was broached at a prior meeting.
Yeah.
And hopefully we get more people to come than was at the last one. I think one meeting, the biggest number we had, I think, was maybe 30 people, and that's the selectmen, the secretary that was there, that was Jeff Ritter, that was the guy doing the video. I mean, that was everybody in the room. And it was kind of disappointing. But it's certainly an option. And it may put, stuff out there.
Right, we need to take advantage of Channel 8 too. Get some slides up there
Yeah.
with,
On that. Yes.
You're talking about a budget crisis. This lady here was town treasurer for how long? You had a crisis then,
6 months.
huh?
6 months.
We had a crisis then, didn't we?
Yeah.
It never got straightened around since. That's 10 years ago.
Well, Tammy got it straightened out.
Well, we hope so. We hope so. Tammy's gone.
Yeah.
The accountant's gone,
unfortunately.
right?
Wilfred, did you have?
Well, I was just saying, the type of meeting the young lady suggested, you have to realize if you video it and you goes out to the people
Right.
so they see it on the TV, you may not have many people there, but you're gonna have a lot of people seeing it.
See it on TV.
So you
I just like people
don't
there
want
so
to
they
get that
can,
value.
right, to ask questions or,
Yeah, at least if you've got some core people to ask the questions.
Maybe there's some forum that we could have people send in some questions that could be answered, because people may not be able to come at night, but I'd forgotten about that, that if it was to be on Channel 8, like Doug said, then those questions could be answered kind of,
Yeah, or is there, I mean, I'm not a real internet
Right.
expert, but some.
We could do something
some
ahead of
sort
time.
yeah.
Like other like chat, or where somebody could post a
Right.
question and we're having
Right.
a live session and be able to answer
Yeah.
those back. I don't know exactly how you do that, but.
Well, if Jeff is waiting for email right now and he knows how to do that, we could certainly,
Hey, let's not volunteer for doing technology stuff. That's a bad idea.
One,
but it would not be a bad idea
if
to
you
try
get
something like
Wilfred
that.
Spring to come up with some finance committee meeting and have donuts and coffee, you get more people.
If you had coffee, I might have stayed. I would have ignored my phone the other night.
The
You would
chairman
have stayed.
of the select board didn't stay very long. He was there though.
I told you I had a phone, she threw it away. Yes,
I just have one other item to add for the 27th meeting, and that's the letter from the DOR, Gerard Perry.
and the response from, we'll
Yeah.
read that.
And, I don't know if we've heard anything back from the Inspector General, but I think all of that should be forwarded to the Inspector General as well.
Water,
Yeah, we probably should officially welcome Diane.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's her first, the last time it really wasn't, it was an informal meeting, it wasn't a posted meeting. And she gets to do all that running again and election stuff in a couple months.
She's good at that.
So. So. I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved. Second.
Julie?
Yes.
Doug?
Yes.
Diane?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So,
You just stay by yourself, you're outvoted.
already.
The vehicle was
Thank you. We didn't even hit.